Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. So about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, I want to talk about some comments I heard from my man Brendan Haywood, the ex-NBA player. Played for the Dallas Mavericks and the Washington Wizards, I believe, in his career. Won a championship with the 2011 Dallas Mavericks. He was on that team that beat LeBron James in his Miami, super heat, right? And, he had some, he was on a podcast, I believe, or I don't know if he has his own podcast. And I heard some comments of him talking about Jason Terry and how Jason Terry was trash talking LeBron James during the 2011 NBA Finals. Now, if you guys remember, I've mentioned it several times. We've all mentioned this. There were several players from the Dallas Mavericks that were trash talking LeBron James. And he was alluding to Jason Terry and some of the things that Jason Terry was saying to him during that finals run, when Jason Terry was going off and talking about LeBron James can't guard him and this and that. And I want to talk about that in this video and highlight, what that really means. And, in relation to a lot of the stuff that we talk about with LeBron James and, possibly playing in some of these past eras and, how that would look. We're going to talk about in this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, has been supporting my channel. Once again, shout out to everybody out there. Like I said, man, everybody in the membership. It means a lot, guys. Man, like I said, it means a lot for real, man. I'm truly humble. You guys, the messages, the emails, coming through the live streams, donating to the channel, all this stuff, guys. Thank you very much, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys. Like I said, man, I was flipping around the internet, social media, and I saw this clip of Brendan Haywood. And he was talking about Jason Terry versus LeBron James in the 2011 NBA Finals. And he was talking about some of the comments and, he was telling a story. And, I don't know what it is. Brendan Haywood, man, he makes me laugh. Like, when I hear him tell stories, and it doesn't have to be about LeBron James or Michael Jordan stuff, but anytime that I've heard him tell stories about, his NBA career and, some of the things that's happened. And, he has almost like this Sammy Davis Jr. eyes going on, with the one, like, kind of, like, wandering eye. And he like I said, the way he says this stuff sometimes, it has me laughing, right? So anyway, he's telling this story about LeBron James and Jason Terry during the 2011 NBA Finals. So like I said, guys, Brendan Haywood was part of that 2011 Dallas Mavericks championship team that beat the Miami Heat in the finals that year. If you also remember, Brendan Haywood also played with Michael Jordan, right, earlier in his career, with Michael Jordan on the Wizards. So Brendan Haywood, I've heard him tell stories about Michael Jordan in practice, about Michael Jordan showing before anybody else, and Michael Jordan putting all this work in at that time, at that point in time of his career, how old he was, and, all the stuff that he was battling through. You've heard guys like Eton Thomas tell stories about Michael Jordan during them years on the Wizards and the things that he was doing and the work that he was putting in, the effort that he gave, what I'm saying? And like I said, how he, really showed and proved, why he was Michael Jordan. It wasn't just about the flash and the pizzazz, that this man was out there giving the effort, putting the work in, to be that kind of player, to be that kind of guy. So Brendan Haywood has been around both of, these players. They said he was in the NBA, for all those years, late into the 2010s. So he knows LeBron James. Like I said, faced LeBron James in the Miami Heat in the finals that year. And like I said, I'm listening to him tell this story, and he's talking about Jason Terry and the things that Jason Terry was saying to him, talking about LeBron can't guard me, this, this and that. Like I said, we remember Jason Terry and the bravado he had during that championship run when he got the tattoo. Remember, when he got the NBA championship tattoo on his body before they had even won the championship. So this was the level of confidence, like I said, and bravado that Jason Terry had during that run. So I don't know if he believed in Dirk like that or he believed in that team and what they had going on and felt that they were that special. And they said they had captured something during that run. But this is the level of bravado that Jason Terry was playing with during that championship run, going into that NBA Finals, all right? Going against LeBron James. And let's not forget, guys, the reason why I want to mention this and talk about this in the video, I know that we've touched on LeBron James in the 2011 Finals. It's not to highlight the 2011 Finals, as a loss or, any way in particular as far as LeBron James and the performance that he had. The thing that I wanted to mention is that we have to understand when we talk about the mindset, the mentality, and we're talking about someone like Jason Terry, and we think about that the way the finals played out. Let's not forget, guys, that remember, the Heat were up 2-1. But more importantly, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, remember, they were making fun of Dirk Nowitzki, mocking Dirk Nowitzki for possibly being sick coming into that game 4, I believe that was, if I'm not mistaken. And you remember them walking in the tunnel, right? We've all seen this clip. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, fake coughing and, joking and laughing about, is Dirk really sick, or the sickness that he may or may not have. And we've all seen the comments after the game, from Dirk Nowitzki and, how he felt about those comments and, what he thought about that going into that game and in that moment. So if we take all these things into account, LeBron James was feeling really sure of himself, being a front runner on his Super Miami Heat team when he was up 2-1 in the NBA Finals, possibly on the way to win his first NBA Finals now, right? But in that moment, LeBron James decided to do what? He decided to play the front runner role. He decided to start feeling himself. He just started to celebrate and act as if he had already won the championship, as if things was already locked up. When you've seen guys in the past that were never settled being up, they knew the job wasn't done, right? We've heard Kobe Bryant, in fact, in the past say, job is not done. What am I supposed to be celebrating here? We haven't won anything yet. I've heard Michael Jordan, in fact, after they've won the conference finals. I remember when they beat the Orlando Magic in 1996. Remember, he was getting redemption, so to speak. He was going on that tour that I told you guys about the reckoning, right? And Michael Jordan and the Bulls swept the Orlando Magic 4-0 in 1996. And he talked to Michael Jordan, Ahmad Rashad, on the floor after game 4, and he asked him about what it meant to get that kind of redemption, to go and beat this team in the Eastern Conference Finals. And he said, yeah, it feels great, but we know the job is not done. This is not great. If we get it past this, if we celebrate this, but we don't win the championship, then it doesn't mean anything. So we understand the job is not done. We have a goal in mind, and we understand this is what we're going for. See, so this is what we're talking about. This is what the great players know and do. But someone like LeBron James, up 2-1, is over here fake coughing, making fun of not only just another player, but you're making fun of the greatest player on the team that you're facing. A guy who legit can go out there and do something against you. And what did he do? Dirk Nowitzki went out there. Don't know if he necessarily took it personal, quote unquote, like Michael Jordan, but he went out there and led his team from a 2-1 deficit, and they won 3 games in a row. 3 games in a row, guys, and Dirk Nowitzki went on a tear with one of the great finals performances in the history of the game, and one of the biggest upsets in NBA Finals history. And LeBron James mentally was not there. So oftentimes you'll hear LeBron James fans try to make excuses, and they'll say, oh, he had a bad series. Oh, it was and listen, man, they'll say, oh, listen, man, 2011, we get it. He had a bad series. He had a bad championship. It's whatever, right? Guys have had bad series. Guys have bad championships. Other great players have lost NBA Finals. They didn't maybe play up to snuff. We get all of this. It's not just about the bad series, scoring-wise, statistically, right? What we saw in the video footage-wise when he's standing in the corner, not knowing what to do, playing unsure of himself, no confidence there. Is this supposed to be the greatest player of all time? Or someone that we're supposed to be comparing to Michael Jordan this way? It doesn't add up, because Michael Jordan never lacked the confidence, never seemed unsure of himself, never seemed like he didn't know what to do or how to make an adjustment from game to game or time to time once he reached this certain level. So when you talk about the team that LeBron James was playing on, the point in time of career that he was at, there was no need for LeBron James to be the way that he was being. But he was not on the level of a Michael Jordan from the early on years. And why was this? It's the mentality, the mindset here. So let's think about the mindset in relation to what Brendan Haywood was saying in this clip. Talking about the things that Jason Terry was saying to him. Once again, getting in LeBron James' mind. I remember watching that series, guys, seeing guys like Deshaun Stevenson talk trash to LeBron James. Deshaun Stevenson, just straight trash talking LeBron James. Like he was nobody. All these guys, trash talking LeBron James, Jason Terry, and Brendan Haywood was saying, no, Jason Terry, the confidence that he had going against LeBron James is insane. Especially when you think about the way that LeBron James is being touted and talked about now, about the defense he played against Derrick Rose in the series before. You see how all this comes back, guys, and the contradictions and the hypocritical statements that these people make. Oh, LeBron James can guard 1 through 5. LeBron James this. Look what he did to Derrick Rose. And they'll use that to highlight him being able to guard 1 through 5. But in actuality, LeBron James didn't lock up Derrick Rose or do anything spectacular. And once again, we talk about the consistency. In order for you to be an elite, all-time great defensive player, it's you being great on defense when it matters most. But not only that, you being great on defense consistently. All right, and LeBron James is not consistently great on defense. So if we want to take into account and say LeBron James guarded Derrick Rose in the 2011 Eastern Conference Finals, and he did it to a degree where he was allowed or able to, be effective against Derrick Rose, who was the MVP winner that season. Then when we talk about consistency, where was LeBron James in the finals that season to go against a Jason Terry, right? To go against a J.J. Barea or a Deshaun Stevenson or some of these other guys that was out there on the court, a Jason Kidd who was guarding LeBron James. But also, not just who was guarding LeBron James guarding them. So, when Jason Terry is talking about, he can't guard me. Remember, I'm not saying that LeBron James, was Jason Terry was guarding LeBron James, and we're talking about Jason Terry was going after LeBron James on the defensive end. But we're talking about LeBron James could do nothing with Jason Terry defensively. And not only could he do nothing with him defensively, he couldn't do anything with him defensively when it mattered most. So if you look at a lot of that film, if you remember watching a lot of those games, Jason Terry was knocking down big-time shots in key moments. These weren't some shots that he was hitting with the Dallas Mavericks up by 20 or them down by 20, down by 15, and Jason Terry's hitting a couple of shots on LeBron James. No, man, he was shaking and baking LeBron James up and down the court, man, right? Just cooking this fool out there when it mattered most in key moments with the score tight, with the game in the balance. And Jason Terry was coming through consistently, doing things on LeBron James where it seemed like LeBron James, like I said, the confidence that he lacked, the lack of mentality, right? And just the overall lack of game is what gets exposed there from LeBron James. So when they talk about LeBron James' defense and how he was robbed for a Defensive Player of the Year award, can you make an argument, like an asinine statement like that? When you watch LeBron James just get destroyed on the defensive end, not in just one game. If it was one game, I can understand. You get burnt up in a game, no doubt, man. He's an NBA basketball player. Jason Terry's got some game to him. He was feeling hot one game. This was 3 games in a row that we saw LeBron James just getting cooked out there, not looking sure of himself. Remember, so much to the point to reiterate and highlight Brendan Haywood in the comments that he's talking about with Jason Terry, and to once again back this up with some more evidence and proof, right? Remember, it was in fact Magic Johnson that said the key for the Miami Heat is, can LeBron James stop Jason Terry? Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. This was the key point for Magic Johnson for the Miami Heat. Can LeBron James stop Jason Terry? Now, when you think about that statement and you think about how that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? For Magic Johnson to say something like that, right? Oh, Matt Johnson, a hater. He's hating on LeBron James, Magic Johnson, by saying something like that. No, ladies and gentlemen, that was actually the facts. That was the reality of the 2011 NBA Finals. Not only did LeBron James not be able to stop Dirk Nowitzki because he guarded 1 through 5, didn't jump Dirk Nowitzki a power forward, did he? No. I mean, by all accounts, LeBron James is stronger, right, than Dirk Nowitzki. He weighs more than Dirk Nowitzki, does he not? People talk about LeBron James, athletic freak, greater athlete than Dirk Nowitzki by far, man. Not even a debate there. And LeBron James didn't decide to jump Dirk Nowitzki. He didn't go to Eric Spoelstra or Pat Riley and be like, yo, man, put me on Dirk. I'll shut him down. He's destroying us right now. Nah, he didn't do that. He didn't pick him up. Nah, he didn't do that. So, Jason Terry, couldn't do anything with Jason Terry out there. Jason Terry just out here doing whatever he wants to do. LeBron James couldn't be that guy to lock him up. None of this stuff. It's so much so, like I said, you had Jason Terry trash talking you on the court, and Magic Johnson is saying the key to the game is, can you shut this man down? Can you stop him? Because you clearly haven't been stopping him, so much so that Dirk Nowitzki's been doing his thing, and that Jason Terry has been the X factor here. That's what happened. Dirk Nowitzki went Dirk Nowitzki, right? He finally came through Dirk Nowitzki when it mattered most. And Jason Terry was the X factor because LeBron James couldn't do nothing with him. Doesn't this look familiar and sound familiar, ladies and gentlemen? Isn't this thing a pattern? Think about people who become the X factors on LeBron James' head. I want you to think about this stuff. When I tell you guys that remember, they're always comparing him to Michael Jordan. So when I tell you guys that Michael Jordan was the X factor in the NBA Finals, this is why he was the Finals MVP every single NBA Finals. This does not take away from his teammates because they played their roles. Those guys stepped up in big moments. But Michael Jordan was, in fact, the X factor for the Chicago Bulls. All right? He was literally carrying the Bulls offensively every single offensive season, guys. Offensively. No doubt about this. You cannot even make anything about this. This man was literally carrying the Bulls offensively, guys. When you talk about what he had to do and the burden that was on him, when you talk about the plays he played with on the offensive end. Now, the Bulls overall and defensively, absolutely, man, they were stout. It wasn't just Michael Jordan, man. You had other great players, but the Bulls had great teamwork. This is what made them so great because you had the greatest player, but you had great teamwork because everyone understood it wasn't about the individual because Michael Jordan made it seem like it wasn't about the individual and everybody was there to play their role and they were prepared to play their role. So Michael Jordan maximized his teams. This is why they were so great. Michael Jordan's clutch play, his greatness, but the team being prepared and the team being great teamwork, team-wise. So when we think about all these things combined, guys, this is what we're always highlighting. This is what they're talking about. This is why the Chicago Bulls were a formidable team. Formidable team, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Teamwork. LeBron James still doesn't know nothing about teamwork, maximizing his team, all right? And doing whatever it takes to win. So when Michael Jordan, I'm telling you, he's the X factor. Remember, he was the utility man for the Bulls. He did whatever it took to win. The leadership was always there, galvanizing the team, right? Leading by example, coming through in the clutch moments, never faltering on his team, not fouling out in key moments, not making these blunders at the end of these games. Right? Not having a bad series. Right? Like I said, always being there with the leadership. Having his team ready for the moments so they could be there for him. That's why Paxson hit that shot. That's why Kirk hit that shot. That's why guys like Kukoc could step up. Pippen could be there. Horace Grant, the B.J. Armstrongs. Right? These guys can be there in moments because Michael Jordan pushed them and prepared them for those moments. You understand this? LeBron James has never done that. Hasn't done it. Had to learn all of this stuff. Never figured these things out. You think about the mentality. Like I tell you guys, I'm talking about the mentality here that Brendan Haywood is talking about. Jason Terry, the things he was saying. The mentality. This is what I'm saying. LeBron James fans believe he could play in any era. He would dominate the days of the 90s. We just talked about how these GOAT James Kingdom clowns think that LeBron James would dominate the bad boy Pistons. Remember, it wasn't just physically he had to get past them. It wasn't just physically. This is why he lifted the weights and stuff like that. But it was ultimately a mental test, a mental challenge to get past them. Guys like Pippen had to be ready mentally. The Horace Grants, the B.J. Armstrongs, the Paxsons, they had to be ready mentally. Michael Jordan himself, mentally to get past those guys. So, like I talked about it, if you look at Game 1 in 1991 Eastern Conference Finals, what you'll see and what you'll notice is Michael Jordan's aggression way up. His aggression, his talking. He's in Mark Aguirre. They went nose to nose, him and Mark Aguirre. He went nose to nose with Rodman in that game. He went nose to nose, I think, with 3 players. I know it for a fact, Aguirre and Rodman, and I want to say maybe Sally, somebody else. But he was in the face of these guys, so much so to the point where the announcers in the broadcast booth mentioned how they had never seen Michael Jordan this fired up and talking this much in a game before because Michael Jordan knew what it was about. He knew that they were ready, but it was about mentally standing up to these guys and being there. The same thing, right, that happened again in 1992, the very next year, when the New York Knicks tried the same approach, right? They tried to play those bully tactics. They tried to get mental, physical with the Bulls. Xavier McDaniel, Charles Oakley, the Patrick Ewings, right? The Gerald Wilkins, the John Starkses. The New York Knicks of the early 90s were formidable, right? Because they were tough. And it was also a mental thing. LeBron James would not have been able to get past them mentally. This is why he ran to Miami. It was a mental thing for him. He mentally couldn't handle it anymore. Couldn't do it. Couldn't figure it out. Didn't want to figure it out like Michael Jordan told Kobe Bryant to do. So shout out to Brendan Haywood, man. We talk about the mentality. He's laughing and joking around about Jason Terry and the things that Jason Terry was saying to LeBron James out there on the court in 2011 NBA Finals. No one would ever talk to Michael Jordan that way. And if they did, in fact, get into a verbal back and forth with Michael Jordan like we saw many times happen in Michael Jordan's career in big-time moments, the Gary Paytons, the Reggie Millers, like I just mentioned, the Detroit Pistons, the New York Knicks, all these different kinds of moments. The Miami Heat, I remember the Alonzo Mourning situations, right, with the Scottie Pippen elbow and all this stuff. There was always moments. There was always times, right? Michael Jordan was there mentally. He was there prepared, standing up, being a true leader, a true professional. Whereas LeBron James ran from those moments. He ran to Miami, away from the Boston Celtics. Remember, Michael Jordan told Kobe to figure it out. Kobe figured it out. LeBron James didn't want to figure it out. He ran to go figure it out from someone else. But LeBron James fans out here making excuses, trying to knock Dwayne Wade, tear his legacy down as if he was nobody. Chris Bosh, all these guys. Eric Spoelstra's not a quality head coach. Nah, he's not a good head coach at all, Eric Spoelstra. He's trash. Man's been to 2 NBA Finals without LeBron James, without Dwayne Wade. Doing more with less, Eric Spoelstra. These are the facts, man. Once again, shout out to Brendan Haywood. Like I said, man, he got that Sammy Davis Jr. eyes going, man. Got me laughing when he tells these stories sometimes, the way that he speaks. Talking about Jason Terry in the comments that Jason Terry was saying to LeBron James during that NBA Finals. Once again, speaking to the lack of mindset and the weak mental of LeBron James. Just folding up in those moments because he's weak. Remember the All-Star game in 2012 and 2013 when they were like Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony. They're like, yo, man, what's up? They're all like, LeBron James be folding up, man. That's his MO. This is what he does, guys. These are the facts. But these clowns out here telling us he would come out here and dominate the 80s, or dominate the 90s. They would trash talk this man to oblivion. Into oblivion, guys. Someone like Larry Bird, into oblivion. Ruthless trash talk. Ruthless, guys. Get all up in your head. And remember, back in them days, they were allowed to be physical. They could actually beat you. So not only did they talk it, but they could actually physically do it to you out there. That's why I say a lot of these fake tough guys out here now, these fake Draymond Greens and these clowns, man, they could do this kind of stuff now in this league. Back in them other days, they could have did something to you back in them days. You run your mouth, you have the consequence and repercussions, like I said the other day in the live stream, right? You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.